Welcome back to the Professor Insight podcast, your space for exploring the frontiers of artificial intelligence, neuroscience, and emerging technology, and making sense of how it all translates into practical strategy, professional growth, and better decision-making. I'm your host, Professor Billy, and I'm glad you're here. At the start of this episode, we would like to acknowledge that this podcast is fully powered by AI tools, from content creation and script writing to voice generation. In fact, this voice you're hearing is a voice clone of myself. All of this is done under human supervision and with careful manual curation to ensure quality and integrity. Now, today's episode is going to be of particular interest to those of you in the legal profession or anyone curious about how AI is not just influencing, but actively reshaping high-stakes, high-responsibility industries. We're diving into insights drawn from two timely and thought-provoking resources. The first is a paper co-authored by Microsoft and the Singapore Academy of Law titled Prompt Engineering for Lawyers: Leveraging Generative AI in the Legal Profession. The second is the 2024 Future of Professionals report from Thomson Reuters. Together, these two reports paint a picture of a legal landscape in transformation, powered not by theory, but by application. We'll cover how generative AI is being used right now in legal workflows, everything from contract review and legal research to summarizing case law and improving client communication. And this isn't just about productivity. According to the Future of Professionals report, AI could free up 4 hours per week per lawyer, translating to $100,000 in new billable time per professional annually. That's a game changer not just for firms, but for how professionals use their time and energy, focusing more on strategy, relationships, and complex problem solving. But productivity is only half the story. We're also going to explore the growing importance of prompt engineering as a skill for lawyers. That's right. Just like learning to write a persuasive argument, lawyers now need to know how to write effective AI prompts. The Microsoft and Singapore Academy of Law paper offers a framework to guide legal professionals in crafting prompts that produce relevant, trustworthy, and accurate AI-generated content. We'll walk through how to structure prompts using key elements like goal, context, expectations, and source, and why getting this right is crucial for compliance, professionalism, and client trust. We'll also talk about the ethical and professional consideration that come with using AI in legal practice. From confidentiality and disclosure to output verification and data protection, the role of the human lawyer is evolving, but not disappearing. In fact, this shift is likely to expand the profession, not shrink it. We'll look at the new skills, new roles, and new opportunities emerging as AI becomes a core part of legal operations, from AI implementation managers to legal AI trainers. So, whether you're a legal professional looking to stay ahead in AI thinking, or just curious about how one of the oldest professions is adapting to one of the newest technologies, this episode will give you a practical and honest look at what's changing and what still matters most. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the deep dive. The buzz around artificial intelligence is just constant, but here's something that really caught my eye. A recent study found that a huge chunk of professionals, something like 77%, expect AI to have a really big, maybe even transformative impact on their jobs in the next 5 years.
And that number has jumped significantly just in the last year, hasn't it?
It has, by about 10%. It really shows this isn't some future fantasy anymore.
No, absolutely not. It's here, and it's integrating fast into, well, pretty much everywhere.
Exactly. And today, we're really going to zoom in on one field where this change is, it's already happening, and it looks set to fundamentally reshape things, the legal profession.
Right. We're talking about how AI is being used right now, its future potential, and crucially, what it all means for businesses.
Yeah, and we're kind of assuming you have a basic grasp of AI. We're not going to define it. We want to jump straight into the practical stuff, the real-world impact on law.
Mm-hmm. Our goal here is really to give you a clear picture of AI's role, present and future, in the legal sector. Offer some actionable takeaways, maybe address some common concerns.
But without getting lost in the weeds, the super technical jargon.
Exactly. Keep it practical, keep it insightful.
Okay, so let's get right into it then. What's the general feeling out there? How are legal professionals actually looking at AI today?
Well, what's really striking is the shift in mindset. There used to be, perhaps, more caution, maybe even some fear.
Sure, that makes sense. Fear of replacement, maybe?
Possibly. But now, the dominant view is much more positive. A large majority, over 70% in fact, actually see AI as a force for good in the industry.
Wow, okay. That is a significant shift. What's driving that change in perspective? What are lawyers seeing that makes them more optimistic?
I think a huge part of it is the automation of, frankly, the less glamorous tasks, the routine stuff.
What specifically?
Think about drafting standard documents, basic contracts, NDAs, or doing initial legal research, sifting through case law, even analyzing contracts to pull out key clauses.
The kind of work that's necessary, but maybe not the most stimulating.
Precisely. And it's incredibly time-consuming. AI is proving it can handle a lot of that heavy lifting much more efficiently.
So it's about freeing up their time, essentially.
Exactly. And the productivity gains are pretty substantial. Some estimates suggest AI could free up around, say, 4 hours per lawyer per week.
4 hours? That doesn't sound like a huge amount initially, but...
But scale that up across an entire firm, or the entire U.S. legal market, for instance. We're talking potentially hundreds of millions of hours of increased productivity annually.
Okay, yeah. When you put it like that, it's massive and potentially huge new billable time opportunities, or maybe less billable time.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It leads right into the impact on billing models. If tasks get faster, the traditional hourly rate comes under pressure.
Right. So are firms actually moving away from hourly billing because of this?
There's definitely a growing expectation. Something like 43% of legal professionals predict a decline in hourly billing over the next 5 years. They see efficiency driving that change.
So if they're spending less time on the routine stuff and maybe billing differently for it, where does that freed up time go? What are they focusing on instead?
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. It's about shifting focus to higher value activities. Things like strategic planning for clients, really digging into their business needs.
More advisory work.
Exactly. Building stronger client relationships, providing more insightful guidance, tackling the complex, novel legal issues. These are often the more intellectually satisfying parts of the job, too.
So AI handles the groundwork, and the lawyer focuses on the strategy and the human connection.
That's the ideal, yes. It allows them to lean into that trusted advisor role more effectively. It moves them away from being just document processors.
Makes sense. It could make the profession more innovative, potentially more rewarding.
I think so. It allows for more focus on problem solving and creative legal thinking.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly then. What about the clients? How is all this AI integration impacting the service they receive?
Well, client expectations are definitely changing. They live in a tech-driven world, right? They expect speed, efficiency, cost-effectiveness.
Like ordering something online and getting it tomorrow. They want faster answers from their lawyers, too.
Kinda, yeah. There's pressure for quicker responses, more transparency, and legal professionals know this. Many say they want to spend more time on the really complex, expertise-driven work that clients value most.
So AI helps bridge that gap, helps lawyers meet those evolving client demands.
It certainly can. There are several ways. First, handling massive amounts of data. Think about huge litigation cases or big M&A deals. AI can sift through documents way faster than humans.
Finding the needle in the haystack, so to speak.
Exactly. It improves client response times too, maybe by helping find relevant information quickly. It can potentially reduce human error on repetitive tasks.
That's a big one, reducing errors.
It is. And AI can provide advanced analytics. Imagine analyzing past case data to predict potential outcomes for a current case, or assessing risks more accurately. That helps clients make better decisions.
So it's not just faster, it's potentially smarter service, more data-driven advice.
Precisely. Think about real-time translation during international deals, or automatically generating customized reports for clients. It enhances the whole service delivery.
It sounds really powerful for improving the client experience.
It is, but, and this is crucial, the core value of the lawyer. Their experience, their judgment, their ethical compass, that trusted advisor role that remains paramount. AI is a tool, a very powerful one, but it assists, it doesn't replace that fundamental human expertise.
Right. The empathy, the negotiation skills, understanding the nuance of a situation, AI can't do that.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, right.
Probably not ever in the same way. So lawyers still need that breadth of experience. The challenge now is articulating the value of AI to clients.
What do you mean?
Well, it's not enough just to say, we use AI so we're faster. Lawyers need to explain how AI helps them deliver better advice, mitigate risks more effectively, achieve better outcomes. Only about half feel confident doing that right now, beyond just talking efficiency.
So there's a communication piece there showing how tech enhances rather than replaces their core value.
Exactly. Demonstrating that human expertise, augmented by AI, is the best combination.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, with all these benefits, there must also be concerns, right? Ethical considerations.
Oh, absolutely. Ethical use is a major focus. Pretty much everyone agrees that significant human oversight is essential. You can't just let AI run wild.
Understandably. What are the specific worries?
For those not yet using AI, worries about the quality and accuracy of the output are common. Around 43% cite that. And data security is another big one. About 37% are concerned there.
Data security, especially with sensitive client information, that's critical.
Hugely critical. Which is why there's near universal agreement on the need for human oversight and strong internal rules or policies governing AI use within firms or legal departments.
So internal guardrails are seen as necessary.
Yes. And many also support broader industry-wide ethics codes and potentially even certifications related to AI use in law. There's a clear sense that standards are needed.
Are there specific applications of AI that are seen as, well, maybe going too far?
Definitely. There are clear lines. For example, the vast majority, like 96%, think AI actually representing a client in court is a step too far.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. A robot lawyer arguing a case. Seems unlikely.
And similarly, around 83% feel that AI providing direct legal advice to a client without lawyer involvement is inappropriate.
So the core functions of advocacy and providing counsel are still seen as firmly in the human domain.
Very much so. The emphasis is always on lawyer oversight. Reviewing and verifying anything AI produces is absolutely crucial to comply with professional ethics and duties to the client.
It's a tool, not a replacement for professional judgment.
That's the key message. Rigorous oversight is non-negotiable.
So thinking about the future then, what does this mean for legal jobs? Is AI going to lead to mass unemployment for lawyers?
The consensus seems to be no, actually. The overwhelming view, around 85%, is that AI will transform roles and require new skills, rather than just eliminating jobs wholesale.
Transformation, not elimination. Okay. What kind of new skills are we talking about?
Adaptability is huge. Being able to embrace and work with technological change is seen as increasingly important, a 71% increase in demand predicted there.
Makes sense. What else?
Core legal skills remain vital, but problem-solving, creativity, and communication are expected to be even more in demand. Think about it. If AI handles routine tasks, lawyers need to excel at the complex, creative, human-centric aspects.
So skills that AI can't easily replicate.
Exactly. And we're also seeing predictions for entirely new roles emerging.
Like what?
Things like dedicated AI specialists within law firms or legal departments, IT and cybersecurity specialists focused on legal tech, people managing the implementation of AI tools, AI implementation managers, even AI specialist trainers.
So new career paths opening up because of AI.
Yes, potentially quite exciting and professionally satisfying new opportunities focused on leveraging this technology effectively and ethically within the legal field.
Okay, that's a more optimistic view than the typical robots are taking our jobs narrative. Now let's get really practical. For lawyers who are starting to use these tools, especially generative AI, what are the best practices? How do they use it effectively?
Right. So thinking about generative AI tools like ChatGPT, but often more specialized legal versions, the best mindset is to see it as a co-pilot.
A co-pilot, I like that analogy.
Yeah, it enhances your abilities, makes you more efficient, frees you up for that complex, high-value work we talked about. It's not autopilot, it's working alongside you.
And the effectiveness depends heavily on how you interact with it.
Absolutely. The quality of the output hinges almost entirely on the quality of the input, the prompts you give it. This is where prompt engineering comes in.
Prompt engineering, we hear that term a lot now. What does it actually mean in a legal context?
It's basically the skill of crafting instructions for the AI to get it to do exactly what you want. It's about being clear, specific, and providing the right context. It's moving beyond just asking simple questions.
So it's more than just typing a query into a search bar.
Much more. Early AI in law was more about data analytics, maybe automating parts of discovery or due diligence. Generative AI opens up way more possibilities, but it needs skillful direction.
And the benefits are real. There's evidence it actually helps.
Oh yes. There have been studies, like one involving Microsoft lawyers showing significant time savings. They were about 32% quicker on certain tasks, and even improved accuracy around 20% better when using generative AI tools effectively.
Quicker and more accurate. That's compelling.
It is. And these tools are becoming more accessible, often integrated directly into existing legal research platforms or contract drafting software.
So what kind of tasks can lawyers realistically use generative AI for right now?
A whole range, actually. Legal drafting, generating first drafts of clauses, emails, even sections of briefs, research summarizing cases, finding relevant statutes, analysis identifying arguments, potential risks in documents. Summarization is a big one.
Summarizing lengthy documents or depositions.
Exactly. Negotiation support, maybe brainstorming arguments or analyzing the other side's position. Knowledge management within a firm. Even communications, meeting summaries, practice management tasks like billing descriptions or marketing materials.
Wow, that's a pretty broad list. So, back to prompt engineering, how do you structure a good prompt for these kinds of tasks?
It's about giving the AI clear instructions. Think about 4 key elements: goal, context, expectations, and source.
Okay, break those down for us. Goal.
Be really clear about the task. Use action verbs. Instead of "tell me about contract law," try "draft a clause defining confidential information for a mutual NDA." If it's complex, break the goal into smaller steps.
Got it. Be specific. What about context?
This is crucial. Give the AI the background it needs. What's the legal issue? What jurisdiction applies? Who are the parties involved? What role should the AI take? OG, act as a senior associate. Who is the audience for the output? Sometimes giving it a couple of examples of what you want helps too.
So paint the picture for the AI and expectations.
Tell it what you want the output to look like. Format, bullet points, a table, a formal memo, level of detail, tone, persuasive, objective, intent. Is this for internal use, a client, a court? Maybe even give it a word limit. And always specify the jurisdiction if it's relevant, like analyze this under Singapore law.
Right, define the deliverable.
Yeah.
And source.
If you want the AI to base its output on specific documents like your firm's templates, a particular statute, or even a website, tell it. Be precise. Maybe point to specific clauses or paragraphs. But, and this is vital, be mindful of data privacy and security. Don't paste confidential client info into a public AI tool without thinking about the terms of service.
Okay, that data privacy point is huge.
Absolutely. Enterprise solutions usually have better safeguards, but you still need to be careful. Maybe anonymize prompts if necessary.
So goal, context, expectations, source.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it's often iterative.
Yes, rarely do you get the perfect output on the first try. You need to refine your prompt, tweak it, give the AI feedback. Experimentation is key. Also, don't ask it to do too much at once. Break down complex tasks.
What are some general good practices then, beyond structuring the prompt?
Use AI for things like comparisons, summaries, spotting issues, brainstorming, but always based on trusted sources you provide or can verify. Start a new chat for each distinct task to avoid confusing the AI. Submit related prompts in a logical chain. And always verify the results. Don't assume it's 100% accurate.
Never trust, always verify.
Pretty much. Don't use the output without careful review by a qualified lawyer. It's a tool to assist, not replace, your judgment.
Which loops back perfectly to the ethical responsibilities.
Exactly. You, the lawyer, are responsible for the final work product. Period. You have to review, verify, ensure accuracy and compliance with ethical rules. Remember that phrase. Do not rely on an authority that you have not read.
Applies to AI output just as much as case law cited by opposing counsel.
Absolutely. It's a co-pilot, not autopilot. It assists drafting and advocacy. It doesn't do it for you. You also need to be aware of any rules or policies about disclosing AI use to clients or courts.
Disclosure requirements might vary.
They might, and they're still evolving. And, crucially, confidentiality. Understand the AI services terms. Are your prompts being used for training? Where's the data stored? Protect client information diligently. Anonymize sensitive details.
So choose your tools wisely, especially regarding data security, and always maintain professional judgment and oversight.
That's the bottom line for responsible AI use in law.
Okay, we've covered a lot around the impact on lawyers, on clients, the ethics, the future roles, and these really practical tips on using generative AI. Let's just briefly summarize the implications for the broader business world. What should businesses take away from all this?
Well, for businesses, the integration of AI in legal services means potentially increased efficiency and cost savings, whether from their in-house teams or external firms. That's a clear benefit.
Faster, potentially cheaper legal support.
Right. It also means lawyers, freed from some routine tasks, can focus more on strategic advice that directly supports business goals. That can lead to better partnerships, better risk management, and maybe even spotting new opportunities.
So a more strategic legal function adding more value.
That's the potential, yes. Businesses also need to adapt, though. They need to understand these new service delivery models, perhaps update how they procure legal services. And critically, they need to be aware of the ethical and data security issues, especially if implementing AI in their own legal departments.
They need internal expertise too.
Increasingly, yes. Demand for roles like legal technologists or AI specialists within businesses is likely to grow. And finally, AI opens doors for entirely new legal service offerings, maybe predictive analytics for compliance or more efficient risk assessment tools. Businesses should look out for these innovations.
So opportunities for both cost savings and new value creation.
Exactly. It's about understanding the shifts and leveraging them strategically.
This has been fascinating, a really comprehensive look at how AI is truly reshaping the legal landscape. We've seen the shift in perception among lawyers.
Yeah, from wary to seeing it as a valuable ally.
The automation of tasks leading to productivity gains.
Freeing them up for that higher value strategic work.
We've talked about evolving client demands and how AI helps meet them through efficiency, better insights, and potentially reducing errors.
While remembering that the core human element, the trusted advisor role, remains absolutely central.
Absolutely. And we covered the critical ethical concerns, the need for oversight, data security, defining boundaries.
And the importance of verifying everything AI produces.
Plus, the future looks like transformation, new skills, new roles, rather than just job losses.
Right. Adaptability, problem solving, creativity becoming even more key.
And crucially, those best practices for using AI, especially generative AI, effectively the co-pilot mindset, the art of prompt engineering.
Always remembering professional responsibility and confidentiality.
And finally, the ripple effects for businesses, efficiency, strategic alignment, new demands, and new opportunities.
It really touches every aspect of the legal ecosystem.
It does. So as we wrap up, here's maybe a final thought to leave you with. As AI continues to get more sophisticated, how might the fundamental definition of legal expertise itself change? What new kinds of value will lawyers bring to the table in this AI-augmented future?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does value creation evolve when machines handle more of the traditional tasks? It's something the entire profession and the businesses they serve will be grappling with for years.
Definitely something to ponder. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into AI's transformation of the legal world. We hope it's given you some valuable insights, whether you're in the legal field, run a business, or are just curious about AI's impact.
Yes, thanks for listening. It's a dynamic area, and the conversation is far from over. Keep exploring, keep asking questions.
That concludes this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
Now, after exploring all of that, it's clear that AI is starting to reshape the legal profession in really meaningful ways. But let's be honest, this is still very much a moving target. Like so many other industries, law wasn't exactly prepared for the speed at which generative AI has taken off. The technology is evolving fast, the tools are improving, and the questions about ethics, privacy, value, and impact are only just beginning to be asked in a serious way. So if you've listened to this episode and found yourself thinking, this is great, but how do I actually use this in practice? Especially when it comes to prompting and getting the most out of generative AI tools. Here's a tip. Head back to episode 7, 8, and 9 of this podcast. That's where we did a full series on prompt engineering, starting with the fundamentals, then moving into frameworks, and finally getting into advanced techniques. It's designed to give professionals like you the practical foundation you need to make these tools work for you, not the other way around. But again, thank you for tuning in. See you next week.